Well, hello and welcome back to part 2 of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot n.sane Trilogy. So I think what we're going to first off do is actually save our progress, in case we have any sort of like unfortunate events like any nasty power cuts or internet goes off or anything like that, which unfortunately can be the case. So you know, always save your work, that's always what I've learnt. I always learnt that in IT lessons as well at school. Always keep saving your work as you work. If that makes sense, so like, every 200 words save your work, because lots of people didn't, and they did 2 hours of work, and they lost it all. Because they did not take that advice. And that included at college and university, so yeah, that must have been horrible for them, so. Anyway, we're going to talk more about the game itself. So this is the second stream level, or second and final stream level in the game. However, this one you can actually collect the gem in, because you don't actually require a coloured gem, which is the yellow gem, which is I believe you obtained from Generator Room, which is the last level, which was upstream. I think this one is up the creek, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. That's right up the creek. However, there is actually a backtracking section in this level, which is actually the first backtracking section in the game, which can be a bit annoying, but this is actually one of the easier ones. It's mostly the one in Toxic Waste that annoys me the most. So you got to jump to the side here onto the TNT, and then get on that bouncy box and get that to the top, just like that. It's not hard at all. Look. It did actually take some figuring out the first time I played this game. I think I must have been about 8 when I figured it out. So, of course. And my chair is creaking again, so sorry guys. I have a GT Omega gaming chair which should not be doing that, but unfortunately it is, so I really apologise for that. So here we go, bonus round. I think this is actually the first bonus round we're actually doing. Yeah, it is. The first bonus round I need to do. Hopefully I don't fall off here. Because I actually always have done that before. I hate the ones where you have to like bounce off the screen, like in the Brio bonus round in Heavy Machinery. Off all of the TNT crates, that's a bit frustrating, but hopefully when we come to that, I won't have any trouble with that. So it's got the tricky jumps, of course, where you got to jump onto the plant, the fly trap, and then onto the lily pad. So of course we've got the gem here, so that's another level 100% completed, which is actually the third one. Or you can count it 4 if you want to count the bosses as well, which actually does make sense to do that. So we now have 24% complete, so roughly about half of the quarter of the game completed. So here we go, Ripperoo. Ripperoo, you shouldn't have. I'm actually, why am I quoting Crash to Insanity when I'm actually... Even though Crash to Insanity is actually one of my favourite Crash games of the whole franchise. Even though it isn't made by Naughty Dog, believe it or not. Some people may say I'm a bit of a weirdo here, but I actually enjoyed Crash of the Titans, guys. And Mind Over Mutant. I just found it a really fun game to play with both of my siblings. Even though it did get a lot of bad press because it wasn't like the originals. Exact same way as a movie gets bad press because it's not like the book. However, in my opinion, you really just can't compare the two. because at least we got more Crash Bandicoot, where it was like, I'd say that it was a good game, but not a good Crash game, but I'd say it's a good game with Crash Bandicoot characters. So actually, hence why I really enjoyed both them games, so that's that. So now that's Ripperoo Toast. And now we're moving on to the next level where we collect the first coloured gem from the Lost City, which is of course the green gem. Which is another one of them side-scrolling levels that you've got to, where you like go into the right and then to the left, a bit like Native Fortress, but I actually think this one's a bit more challenging, especially with the gem challenge in it as well. I actually like that they kept the challenge of having to not die in order to collect the coloured gems. The same way as you collected the coloured gems in like Death Roots and some of the hidden areas in Crash 2 and 3. And I also like the inclusion of the relic races as well, which I actually was I took to straight away as soon as Crash Bandicoot n.sane Trilogy was announced at the end of 2016. So I'm actually impressed that they actually did that. And I've actually had fun actually trying to go for all the platinum relics, and that includes from levels like Slippery Climb and Stormy Ascent, which it was a challenge getting the platinum relics, guys, I will tell you. But at least I did it in the end. And if you can't do it, it doesn't really matter, because all you can do is try, because I will tell you that they are both really tough levels. Especially to get the relics on. And don't even get me started on the high road for getting the relic, because that's just totally a pain in the ass. And if you ever was to attempt it, you'll understand that it is a pain in the ass. So that's that. So here we go now, we're going into the Brio bonus round, which you actually have to do in order to get the gems, which you didn't need to do in the original games at all. So I actually think it's nice that they included this challenge. However, I can understand how it infuriates people, because a lot of critics did slam this game for having the difficulty too hard. So maybe I'm just finding it easy because I grew up with Crash Bandicoot. I've been playing it since the age of 4, but so I mean, people who were like used to newer games like I don't know, let's say first-person shooters, you know, like I don't know, other games like Fortnite. People who don't really play platformers are going to actually struggle with this game, but it's actually not that bad for me anyway. My younger siblings both struggle with this game pretty badly, but I thought I'd mess her up then. But they both have fun playing it. And speaking of that, my brother's actually just got this game for the Nintendo Switch as well, which I haven't actually got round to trying yet. However, I want to get hands-on with it because it's actually a really good. I think it actually looks like a really good port. Maybe the I don't know. Maybe the textures have been toned down, the lighting's been toned down, as well as some of the other graphics. However, I personally don't think that matters at all, because it actually allows you to take Crash Bandicoot on the go. So you're actually taking a AAA Crash Bandicoot title on the go with you, which is like a really good thing you can do. I actually like to high bounce on these crates, because if you don't and you mistime it, you're gone. There we go. And dying in a bonus round actually does not matter, which is which if it did, it'd make the game a lot harder, and it'd probably infuriate a lot of people, because Them Brio bonus rounds can be pretty hard. So here we go, we actually managed to get the gem on the first attempt, which is actually something pretty new to me actually. Otherwise I'd have just got the, you'd have passed the crate at the end and it had said you got all the boxes, but then when you got into this room it had said very good, but unfortunately you died. So here we go, Temple Ruins, which is actually the first dark level in the trilogy, which I actually really enjoy. I think these levels are really fun. These dark levels, temple levels. The dark levels I don't like are the levels that are what are they called? Lights out and fumbling in the dark. I don't mind the dark levels, but they're definitely not as fun as let's say levels like Totally Flying. Not Tomb Raider, is it? What's it called? Bug Light. As you can see, they've really done a great job with the lighting in this area. And the atmosphere of the level as well. I nearly got landed on by that spider, which would not have been too pretty at all. The only thing you've got to be careful of here is the jumping mechanic, how it's changed, because you can end up jumping too far. But speaking of that, I've actually been playing n.sane Trilogy for quite a while now, and I've actually gotten used to the heavier controls that are actually feel a bit looser, which is actually quite ironic, but I suppose it is sort of like understandable. And I've got invincibility again. However, I'm going to have to wait because I've got a bridge of crates to cross, and if I do it now, I'm going to have no way of getting back, so that'll be a total screw up, so I'll have to go now. Yep. And I died anyway, so that was pretty pointless. Though fortunately, it's not a coloured gem this level, so I should be able to still collect the gem, even though I have died. Oh, great. Okay. So now I've got to wait for that to pop back up now, because I got hit by a bat at the end. There's this also like really cool like glitch where at the very end of the level you can die. You know, trigger the angel animation, and then as you land on the finishing platform, and then you actually complete the level with a death, which I actually thought were pretty funny. I've actually deliberately tried to trigger that glitch a few times myself and actually succeeded, because I haven't tried it again, Reeve, but I'm not going to try it on this video because I'm just going to make the parts too long and it's going to take too long to upload. But it's but I always thought that glitch was pretty funny. But regardless, anyway, this is a great game. But back onto the subject of controls, the controls are definitely looser and heavier and feel less responsive in this game. However, I'd say that they are still comparable to games, let's say other platformers, modern platformers like Ratchet and Clank, so they're most certainly not bad. I think the controls of the original games actually spoilt us a bit, to be fair. So that's why that's probably the case there. However, I will say that Spyro Reignited Trilogy, on the other hand, their controls are really I really like the controls in that game. I took to them straight away. They actually feel more slick and responsive than they do in the originals. And I think they've done a great work with the camera too, especially having the analog triggers where you can actually turn the camera around Spyro left and right. Because I actually like to play Spyro with the camera in passive mode, so I can manually turn the camera itself. So that's a really nice touch. Another thing I want to discuss about this game too is that I'm somehow not totally sure about, nor happy about, is they've actually mirrored this island, which is sort of like really sort of like weird. I mean, that is actually odd how they've actually made the island, but it actually does make sense for first time players because you're not actually having to press the controls the other way around when you get onto the next island, because actually I always used to struggle with once I got onto the next island. I also used to end up going back to the previous one or the last one because I've kept forgetting that the map had changed. So I suppose it actually does make sense that they actually did mirror the island. That is the most challenging part, where you've got like all these broken bridges here, so if there's one of them hogs coming, you've got to try to like jump precisely, which is actually a very tricky manoeuvre. There's also a lot of long jumps too. Like here. This is where it's challenging. But I managed to do it though, so that's actually pretty alright. And also, you can actually jump across here without bouncing that turtle, which is something you couldn't do in the original, to what I remember. And of course there are boxes missing, which is 20, because I need to have the red gem. Which, frustratingly again, is from Slippery Climb, which is the hardest gem to get in the game. So, you're gonna have to wish me luck in the future for that, guys. And here we're into the second Indiana Jones style level, Boulder Dash. And this one requires a purple gem, which is obtained from, interestingly, it is obtained from the level Lights Out, which in order to actually get the purple gem you have to have the yellow gem to get the purple gem, which is actually a pretty interesting one. And of course the boulder's getting close because I think I accidentally just released my thumb off the D-pad, so I'm probably going to get it now. I've just got to guarantee I don't hit anything else, otherwise I'm totally screwed. However, I should be lucky enough to make it, but it is looking very close. And yay, I did it. This part is actually probably going to be quite long, but I just think I might as well just finish the second island off here for this part, because it just actually makes a little sense to actually like finish the level off, the part off. I mean, if I can get my wording right, when there's only 2 levels remaining, so I might as well just complete the last 2 levels. And this is a pretty long level. And speaking of length, and also speaking of Crash to Insanity, which I mentioned earlier on, even though I said Crash to Insanity was one of my favourite games, Some people actually say it's the favourite out of the franchise, but it just can't be for me because it is such a good game. I mean, it has its glitches, obviously, but they don't bother me. But the thing I got disappointed with the most with Crash Twinsanity was the length of the game. I did my, Let's Play, 100% playthrough, sorry, of Crash Twinsanity back in 2011. And I put the playlist I did into a calculator to see how long it actually lasted. The whole game, to 100% the whole game of Crash Twinsanity, only took 2.5 hours. That's all it took, 2.5 hours. To me, the length of the game like that, to 100% it is pretty shocking. But it's such a shame because apparently there were so many levels that were actually cut from the game. Like Bug Run, the Lava Caves, and what's the other one? Gone a Bit Coco. I just wish they'd have kept these levels included. Hopefully one day somebody will be able to actually source these levels and actually be able to compile them actually into the full game. Because you never know what the future holds with all these personal developers at home. So hopefully we'll be able to get the length of Crash Twinsanity extended, which is what I really want, because I mean Crash Twinsanity is one of my favourite games. Like me or not for that, but I mean, I just loved Crash Twinsanity. It was just one of my favourite Crash games. If I'd say it's my third favourite, I'd say Cortex Strikes Back's my first, and I put as second one, I think I put Crash Team Racing. But Crash Twinsanity just can't be my first favourite game because it's just, the length of it's just diabolical. But anyway, enough on that, because I mean, I'm actually doing pretty well on Sunset Vista despite me saying it's the hardest level in the game. Because it's actually a pretty, it is a pretty hard level, but it has actually been made easier in Sane Trilogy, which probably is something that'll ease your mind, because not dying in this level and getting the key and 100% in it was not an easy challenge at all. In fact, it was pretty frustrating, guys. Now I've got to work out the pattern of these. Correct. There we go. You see, I've played this game all my life, so I probably at least play it about 3 times a year. And I'm 23-year-old now, so it'll always be in my heart, this game, so I'm always going to like know what the patterns are for the moving objects and stuff. Nope. No, no, no. And here we go, I managed to actually finally get to the first Cortex bonus round, which will get me a key which I can unlock the second hog level with, which I'm actually going to be doing the bonus levels and all the revisits for recollecting the gems at the end, guys, because it's actually because it actually makes sense to actually collect the rest of everything once you've fully completed the game, including defeating the final boss, which is actually not the hardest Cortex boss, but I don't exactly find any of the Cortex bosses hard in the trilogy. I'd say the hardest Cortex boss is in, I'd say it could either be Wrath of Cortex or Crash of the Titans. But generally, as a rule, Cortex bosses aren't actually that hard. They're fun, but they're not hard. So at least that's both bonus rounds out of the way now, so I've got to now see if I can complete the rest of the level without dying. Not that it matters anyway, because as I say, they did fix it in n.sane Trilogy, and I nearly fell. First time I played this game in what is it, 2017, because that's when the game came out, obviously. It took me like half an hour to get up there because of the jumping on the platforms is just so tricky. It don't result in a death, but it's still tedious. So yeah, that's that. I got the gem first go, which is actually very, very, very rare for this level. That's 43% complete. So here we go, Koala Kong, which is the third boss in the game. I'd say my favourite boss in Crash 1 is either it's got to be either Pinstripe, Embryo or Ripperoo. I'm thinking more Embryo as my favourite boss, especially when he turns large at the end, but they've actually made him really hard in n.sane Trilogy. Especially the bit where he drinks his potion and turns into monster form. And bouncing on the goo blobs. Because that is actually pretty... it's actually been made harder now, because I mean, before you could just jump on them, but now you have to jump on them precisely. Which I suppose isn't really a bad thing that they made it challenging, but I don't like tedious challenging. I want the game to be enjoyable. I don't get these people who always like put the difficulty on the highest when they play a game, because I mean, if you're good at it, fair enough, but to jump straight into high difficulty is just always been a no for me, because it's just not fun if you're just gonna like keep losing over and over again just because you set the difficulty too hard. It's sort of like a non-swimmer getting straight into the deep end at the swimming pool. And I love the death animation of, well, the ending animation of, what is it, Koala Kong there, where he gets taken in by that truck. I don't know where he's going to go to, but that's that. So anyway, guys, this is it. Thank you very much for watching part 2 of Let's Play Crash Bandicoot n.sane Trilogy. I sure hope you all enjoyed it. And of course, thank you for watching, and please remember to of course comment, like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Also turn on the notifications if you want to see more of my Let's Play series. I will see you all in the next part, guys and gals.